Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's Watches, and what an exciting drop we have for you this week. And as of the time of recording this video, it's actually Watches and Wonders has begun. It's Wednesday. So I have no idea what new Rolex releases have come out, but we have three very interesting Rolexes on the table today, and they're not your run-of-the-mill Rolex. It's what we always say. At the end of the day, we like to stock obscure and interesting things, and even when it comes to Rolex, there's still slight nuances that you can always get, and that is what we have on the table today. Now, I do want to say there was actually 10 watches for this drop, and as you can see, there's only 6 on the table. You guys and girls have been keeping me very busy. You've been buying the watches before they even get to the website, and as always, as I always say every single episode, make sure you're following on Instagram at Kibble Watches. We showcase every single watch early on there, and tomorrow, Thursday as of the time of recording this video, so it would already be out, but we are getting a lot of new watches in. Some very interesting pieces, some special edition and limited edition pieces from Omega, Panerai, IWC, and some interesting things, so keep an eye out for that, and potentially more Rolexes as well. So for those of you interested in that, keep your eyes peeled there. Now, if you want to skip to a specific watch you see on the table and don't want to hear me rambling throughout the whole video, in the description there is a link to each watch shown here on the table. We'll take you to the website so you can see the price and all the details and everything like that. There'll also be a timestamp to skip to the specific part of the video where I showcase that watch. So that just saves you a lot of time there. Now, I had a few messages last week asking if I was okay, because obviously I sounded all bunged up and everything like that, and I apologize if I still do. I promise everything is fine. It is just hay fever. I get it every single year. It affects me pretty bad to begin, and then I usually get pretty used to it after the antihistamines kick in. So don't worry, I'm completely fine. There is no C word here. I'm tested and everything is good. Now, before we dive into the watches on the table, and there are some very varied watches from a vintage Zenith all the way up to pretty much a brand new Rolex AirKing, but let's look at what's on wrist, and it's actually another Rolex. So we go very long periods without having any Rolex in, then all of a sudden we get loads in at once. It always seems to go this way. But on my wrist is a very interesting Rolex Sea Dweller. This is the 16600. Really nice piece. It does come with its box and guarantee card. It's in fantastic condition. It's definitely been polished throughout its life, but not overly polished, and it still remains with some of its solid lines and everything like that, which is what you want. A very nice and honest example, so keep an eye out for that. That's coming next Saturday as of the time of recording this video, so do send me a message if you are interested, because things like this usually don't stick around long. Now, without any further ado, let's dive into the watches on the table, and I guess we're going to have to start with the Rolexes. Sorry for those of you who don't like Rolex out there, but that's what we're going to do, and we're going to start with a super cool, interesting Yacht-Master. So starting with a very awesome Rolex Yacht-Master. Now, this isn't just any normal Yacht-Master, not that there is just a normal Yacht-Master anyway. I think they're all pretty cool, but this is a really interesting sort of chocolate dial. You can see it's still got its bezel protector on, so let's take that off so we can take a closer look. There we go. There it is in all of its glory. Give it a quick wipe as well. So beautiful stainless steel and pink gold. They have their own name for it, as all you guys know, but I'm gonna call it what it is. It's pink gold or rose gold. Beautiful brown chocolate dial, which just plays with the light beautifully. I mean, come on, that is just ridiculous. Now, what makes this reference quite interesting, the reference for you wondering, is 268621. This is a 37mm example, so comparative to the normal 40mm and not as small as the smaller, what are traditionally called ladies' pieces. This is a mid-sized piece, and it wears incredibly well for its size, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. You can see it's got its beautiful Rolex clasp, the modern clasp, which everyone knows and loves. It wears really well. It does have a quick, easy link, sort of 1/2 mil adjustment right there. So no glide lock, unfortunately, but you do have the ability to move up the pin inside to get your desired fit, so you can still get a perfect fit. There is no worries there. It does come with all of its links, and it's just a really gorgeous example. I think, as far as the Yacht-Master line goes, I really love the blue and the grey. I think they're absolutely stunning, and the original platinum dial with the platinum bezel, that one is always going to be a favourite of mine, the 116-622 and the 16622, but this one has actually really surprised me and made me sort of double think about sizes of watches. We're seeing watches definitely get smaller, and people are becoming more accepting of smaller watches, but this one definitely did surprise me. Now, this lovely watch is from December 2017. It does come with its full box and paperwork, as I said, and beating away inside here is the Rolex caliber 2236, which is a slightly smaller caliber to fit the watch, but let's have a look at it on wrist and talk about dimensions. And just before I do that, you can see it's still got a few of its stickers on its clasp there, and it still has a sticker on its case back as well. It's been very, very well looked after, and to be honest, hardly worn since it was purchased. So here it is on my 6 3/4 inch wrist, and you can see 37mm. It doesn't wear too small. Now it is to be noted the bracelet is smaller, so this is a 37mm by 43mm lug tip to lug, 11mm thick, so nice and thin on the wrist, and 18mm lugs right here, so it does taper down a lot more than a traditional oyster bracelet. So that's something to keep in note. That may make it feel like it is a fair bit smaller than the 40mm, but I have to be honest, it still wears really, really well. And if you've got a smaller wrist out there, or for you ladies who like a sort of substantial watch but nothing too crazy big, this is absolutely perfect if we can get it in focus. There you go. So go check this one out on the website. I do think it's going to surprise a lot of you guys and girls, and especially when you see the price, it is pretty fair considering everything, so go check it out. From the Yacht-Master, let's go over to, let's keep it semi-modern, with the AirKing. Now, as of the time of recording this video, I have no idea if this has been discontinued or not, so do check it out on the website to see if it has been discontinued. Unfortunately, or fortunately, that will alter the price a little bit, because I suspect the price of these will go up if it has been discontinued. But the great thing about this one is it's probably going to be one of the final ones. Obviously, there's still quite a bit of time from when this one was made or sold, which was August 2020, but it's definitely going to be some of the final batch, and I can promise you condition is stupendous on this. As you can see, it's never been polished, as you'd probably expect for August 2020. That's just my fingerprint there, by the way, and it's probably only been worn once or twice. I mean, there's not even hairline scratches. I'm sure there are in certain lights if you really look closely, but as far as condition goes, this is going to be up there with brand new. There's no question about that. So the reference to this one is the 116900, and beaten away inside this is the automatic Rolex caliber 3131. All the specs you sort of come to know for Rolex. You've got that beautiful polished bezel, and the AirKing with the vibrant green and the poppy yellow. Quite an interesting and unusual thing for Rolex to do when you really think about it. Which makes this model quite interesting. You've got the solid white gold 3, 6 and 9, and you've obviously got the slightly shorter hands as well. A really interesting design, not for everyone. Not everyone likes this, especially with the bold 5, 10, 20, 25 and so on. But I think it's a really cool design, and definitely one of those sleeper models within the Rolex line. I think in sort of 10, 15 years, we'll look back on this watch and go, we probably should have paid more attention. But I'm sure we can say that about a lot of watches. But a really stunning piece, and let's show it on wrist. So here it is on my 6 3/4 inch wrist, really nicely proportioned at 40mm by 50mm lug to lug, sort of the perfect dimension I talk about at the max. 50mm lug to lug is kind of where I'd sit at the top end, maybe a little bit over depending on the way it wears, but 13.5mm thick and 20mm lugs, kind of the perfect proportions. I mean, Rolex know what they're doing when it comes to design, and especially wrist ergonomics. They get it spot on. So this is a really good example. August 2020, full box and papers, as I said. Go check out the website for more details, and don't miss out on your opportunity to get this. And let's rewind time just a little bit to 2008 with this very interesting and very, very clean example, Rolex Explorer 2. So a Rolex heavy drop, and that definitely wasn't the intention, but here we are, and I have to say I'm very happy with the Rolexes we have. They're absolutely stunning. So this is a 2008 Rolex Explorer 2, black dial as you can see, and the reference is 16570. Now, we're going to have to talk a little bit about this one. So this model was made for quite a few years, as a lot of you know, and there's different variants of the 16570. This one is one of the final iterations from 2008, so you have the solid end links in the case, which is always better, no drilled lug holes, and just overall better, slightly better build quality than what you'd get on a slightly earlier model. You've got obviously the sapphire crystal, and you've got the white gold with the luminova in the dial and hands. Really stunning example. You can see the condition of this one is fantastic. It's definitely been polished in its life, but very well, and not often, because those case and those lines are still very, very sharp, and still nice and thick as well, as you'd expect. Now, where this watch differs a little bit, the slightly later model, is the movement inside. So the earlier examples of this reference had the Rolex caliber 3185. This is the ever so slightly updated 3186. So that is important to note when looking at this watch and comparing it to maybe some cheaper examples you may find online. Do dig and find out which reference it is, the age of that one, and whether it has this slightly updated movement. It does make a difference to the price, and you know, that's just for you to decide whether you want to pay that small price increase for the slightly rarer example because it was made for fewer years with this caliber, or whether you want to save a bit of money and get the other one. There's sort of no right or wrong, it's whatever you decide, but definitely do check this one out in full detail and see all the specification, but also the condition. As I said, this is where this one shines. The condition is absolutely stunning. You can see there as I get that lug in shot, and the solid end links do definitely make a difference. So this one is from August 2008, and it does come with its box and papers, swing tags and everything like that, so you will not be disappointed with this set. Now let's talk dimensions. For those of you who know the latest Explorer 2, which may very well be now discontinued as another new one is coming out, as at the time we're recording this video, but the new one is 42mm. This is far better proportioned at 40mm by 47mm lug to lug. I think this is just far more wearable for most people. 12mm thick and 20mm lugs, a really nice example, and you do feel the difference of those solid end links on wrist, I've got to be honest, so it is definitely a worthy upgrade, and the movement is just a nice little improvement to have as well. So go check this one out on the website today. Now the Rolexes are out the way, let's go over to Germany with this awesome Nomos Club. Now for a really interesting Nomos, a very cool design Nomos Club Neomatic Siren White reference 744. So that's all the details out of the way. Real quick on that one, and as we flip it round, you're going to see a very nice automatic Nomos caliber. This is the DUW 3001, and this watch is from June 2020, and it does come with its box and papers, its original Nomos shorter bracelet, so it does fit me right here at 6 3/4, so if you have a bigger wrist you may struggle ever so slightly, and it does come with a shorter Nomos strap as well. We can provide just a generic leather strap that would fit on the watch that you can wear if you do have a bigger wrist, so not to worry there, but a really stunning example, great condition, hardly worn as you can see, and the dial is definitely the highlight of this watch with those numerals that are like a reddy pinky colour. Really cool, and it makes it very suitable for him or for her, and the size really does as well. So let's move on to the dimensions and show it on wrist. So here it is on my wrist. As you can see, it wears really well. It's 37mm case size, but it is 49mm lug to lug, so it's got very long lugs, and this is something Nomos seem to do a lot to its benefit, but also to its demise in some of the bigger cases, in my personal opinion. It makes the larger Nomoses a bit unwearable for me, but this kind of size, the 34 to 37, I feel like they wear very well, all considered. But you can see the bracelet, it fits really nicely, it looks nice as well, it sort of goes with the watch, but as I said, it does come with a Nomos strap for those of you who are not a fan. But yeah, 37mm to 49mm lug to lug, only 9mm thick, so it sits very low on the wrist, and 18mm lug, so very easy to get the perfect fitting strap for you. So there you go check this one out on the website. Definitely see the macros of that dial. It looks almost like lacquered or enameled. Pretty cool. Now on to the most affordable watch on the table, but is actually one of my favorites, a vintage Zenith. Now, who doesn't love a vintage Zenith, especially when it's as gorgeous as this one? But real quick, it does come with a Zenith box as well, as you can see. Really nice condition and just nice looking in general, so you get that with the watch. But onto the thing that is most important, the watch itself. So here it is in all of its glory. You can see a really gorgeous original dial. Nice hands, nice numerals, nice little sub-seconds right there, and it's just a really clean and good example. You can see the case as well, all polished but finished very well. Just very nice. I don't think you can go wrong with this. I'm calling it the Explorer dial for obvious reasons, as you can see. I think that's pretty obvious. And beating away inside here is a manually wound Zenith caliber 2531, and the watch is from 1965, so nice and early. And it's just a really good looking piece in general. I don't think you can go wrong with it design wise. Now let's talk dimensions. So here it is on my wrist. It wears really well. I really like it. It's 33.5mm by 41mm lug to lug, only 9mm thick and 17mm lugs. Slightly awkward on the lug size, but nothing too major, but a really nice profile, especially for a vintage, little manually wound. And you could very easily put this on a black strap, and I think you've got yourself a really clean dress watch from a very cool brand, but we've put it on this sort of brown suede type strap. because it just tones it down a little bit. I mean, I wear jeans and a t-shirt or a jumper pretty much always, so this is more to my personal attire, but the options are endless with this watch. And last but by no means least, we actually have a ladies piece for once. This is a Chopard Happy Diamonds, so let's take a closer look at this. Now, an interesting one for the ladies out there, or for the gents who need to get their watch or want to get their lady a watch. A really interesting and cool Chopard Happy Sport Diamonds horseshoe, as we're calling it, is the reference 8475. It does have a quartz movement. It does come with its box and booklets from circa 2010. 36 mil, so not a small ladies watch, but not a huge ladies watch either. And you can see the design is very good. You've even got a cabochon crown right there, which is very nice. You can see the case back, Chopard, new Chopard rubber strap, and it does have its Chopard buckle as well. But the cool thing is the diamonds, which move around in the watch, so every time you look at it, it kind of looks different. Apparently there's a game where you can try and get all the diamonds into the horseshoe. I think you might be there for a while, but interesting nonetheless. See, it's got a date as well. Just a interesting and unusual ladies watch. It certainly won't be for everyone, I know that, but for those who really like it, you know, you're getting yourself a great deal off retail here for an interesting watch and slightly different as well. And it's had the battery change and it comes with our warranty as well, so buy with confidence. But an interesting one for the ladies. It won't be for everyone, but that's okay. So there you have it, guys and girls. That is the 6 watches as of the time of recording this video, Wednesday, that are going into the next drop. As I said, there were 10 watches for this drop, so I do apologize for those of you who missed out on those. There was a Grand Seiko, a couple of Seikos actually, and another piece which I can't remember off the top of my head. That's terrible of me, but we're getting very interesting watches in every single week, so thank you all very much for that. And don't forget, if you do have a watch you want to sell, go to our website, kibblewatches.co.uk. At the top there is the sell button. There's a super simple form to fill out, and I get back to you very quickly with either a buy it price if it's something we're interested in buying in a stock, or a consignment price, which is where we give you a bracket and what our commission will be. Recently what I've been doing is talking about a flat rate fee as well. So for some of you out there with the more expensive watches, you want, let's say, 5,000 back, I will look at it and say okay or no and guarantee you 5,000 back, and I will list it over that and make what I can margin wise. I'm being very transparent with it. I think a lot of guys and girls are more interested in the transparency side, which we've always tried to do. We've been very honest with our numbers here, but seeing the gentleman timepieces, Anthony and Marco, with their YouTube channel, they've been doing the weekly series. If you've not watched that, make sure you do. A little shout out to them. They are absolutely killing it, not only in sales, but also in the way they're doing it and the transparency they have. I think it's really interesting to see, and I think it's great to see as well. A little bit behind the scenes for those of you who think we make thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds on Rolex. We just don't, especially on this level. Sure, they may make that on a 20,000 to 30,000 solid gold piece or whatever it may be, or a Daytona. But for the most part, with watches like this, at this kind of range, we don't make anywhere near that much. It's actually very minimal, and sometimes we make more on vintage pieces than we do on modern Rolex. So hopefully that puts into perspective for you guys. There is not a lot of margin here, so when you give me a call trying to haggle me down £1,000 and wonder why it doesn't really go anywhere, that is why. So hopefully that answers it. But that is it. We will see you all next week, and hopefully, as of the time of recording this video, I will have received my latest watch. I was very naughty and added a new watch to my collection. I think it's going to surprise a lot of you. It probably won't surprise some of you as well. So the unboxing and first impressions of that will be coming soon. Keep an eye out for that. I am super excited for it, and I think it's about time I had one of these in my collection. So yeah, we will see all that again soon. Anyway, look after yourselves and keep well out there, and we'll see you all again soon. Take care.